What were you doing the morning of September 11th, 2001? My name is Julia Ferguson, and this is my community research project. At the beginning of the semester, we are challenged with the thought and depth there is behind what a community is. As we went to glance deeper into research, we all developed our own individual definitions of what makes up a community. After our discoveries, we were given a chance to dive deeper into communities we were interested in by researching them for the entirety of the semester. Throughout this research, we were given new prompts that would unlock another side of our community that we may have never thought about before this assignment. What is a community? Midway through the semester, I realized a community to me means a group of people intertwined by a connection of shared experiences, traumas, beliefs, and ideals. I decided to elaborate on the firefighters, first responders, and United States citizens that were affected by the terrorist attacks that took place the morning of September 11, 2001. When thinking about what to focus on with such a broad topic, I was able to narrow down these ideas together. These include the stories about the heroism behind the women, men, and dogs, the stories of those inside the World Trade Center, below it, the ones on hijacked planes, and the stories that people may have never heard about, but I think are pretty remarkable. Not to forget the impact there was from people actively involved to the ones watching the event unfold through continuous news reports. To go into greater detail of why I chose this particular community has reason to do with former Boston College lacrosse commit Wells Crowther. Wells played collegiate lacrosse in 1995, where he graduated in 1999 with an economics degree. Shortly after graduation, he worked as an equities trader at the World Trade Center and was also a volunteer firefighter. Since I was 7 years old, I've always been playing lacrosse. My coach in high school had introduced me to this man and his story, and she wanted us to live like the role model he was all throughout his life. He was one of the heroes who died saving others the day 9/11 struck. He belongs to a community of people who exemplify indescribable kindness and benevolence. And Wells Crowther was said to have saved 18 lives at the South Tower of the World Trade Center that day. Another highlight of my research was looking for quotes from people from the event and beyond. One of the quotes was said by Todd Beamer, a passenger on Flight 93, while talking simultaneously on the phone with an airline customer representative. He was scheming with other fellow passengers about his plans to take over the controls from the hijackers. At the conclusion of his instructions, his last words were, "Are you guys ready? Let's roll. Let's roll." Another quote by Barack Obama at the National September 11th Memorial Museum tribute expressed the heartbreak of this tragedy, but we are ultimately a strong, unified nation. He said, "No act of terror can match the strength or character of our country." Moving forward, when pondering on how to create my own sources or images, I was lost at first. I didn't know how to make something my own when I had no evidence of me at the event or anyone personally affected. Inevitably, I made two graphs. One I constructed was the statistics of New York City employees who had left their jobs to help respond to the crisis that morning. The jobs fluctuated between the Department of Sanitation to the Department of Transportation. In total, there was said to have been over 59,000 employees that came to help that morning. Furthermore, the second graph shows the people with diverse racial backgrounds who passed away in the catastrophe. My last highlight was simply the mental health impact people experienced from 9/11. Now, how did I begin this project? Well, I wish it was easy enough to say that I had a grand first idea, but in reality, I really learned to research the Kardashian family. No pun intended. I thought to myself, it'd be great because there's so much information, plus I have to do little to no research. But I didn't grasp the concept of having reliable primary sources. So, I changed topics approximately 5 minutes after I presented my first pitch. Why did I change, you ask? Let's just say finding primary sources on reality TV stars is like finding a needle in a haystack. After that curveball, I set out to find a new idea, but I hit a brick wall. I skimmed through my notes I took with topic ideas to see that I had no other topic ideas written down. I was very confident in my Kardashian pitch. But then, I was scrolling through TikTok when I came across a heart-wrenching video. It was live footage of firefighters who were unable to make it up the stairs of the World Trade Center and were watching people fall out of the building. Something clicked and I thought this has to be something that brought together this group of individuals. They weren't connected biologically, but through something even more significant. And then I decided to stretch my ideas to not only the people on site, but to also the ones affected just by living that day and feeling the impact. Luckily, I found an amazing archive with dozens of stories and information, which then led me to use for Projects 3 and 4. Reading about these real events was eye-opening, and I thoroughly enjoyed this process. And in conclusion, the results of this project were quite thought-provoking and led me to think more internally and intimately as a researcher. Comparing and contrasting to what my peers wrote about made me recognize that community isn't the same to one person, but through common ideals and how we think of what defines a community.